Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Cradle News Roundup. Coming to you live, your one stop shop for all news West Asia. My name is Esteban Carrillo, and I'm joined by my friends and colleagues at the Cradle, content creator and writer for the Cradle, Karim Shami, and of course, the incomparable Sima Taim, social media manager and also content creator for the Cradle. Before we start, please, as usual, just a friendly reminder hit that like button as soon as you arrive. It truly is important, and I will never tire of reminding you guys that you need to help us with those likes. We need to continue to grow this channel, of course, to get to as many people as possible. And of course, underneath in the description below, you can find a link that will take you directly to our Patreon page, where for as little as $5 a month, you can become a direct supporter of the Cradle. We need your support. Please consider it if it's within your means. Subscribe to the channel, all that jazz. So, guys, yesterday we touched upon this, but I feel like it bears digging a bit deeper into the current situation. U.S. troops in the Gulf region, after almost a month, we are about 1 day removed from the 1 month mark since the start of this war. They have been essentially left homeless. Due to Iran's destruction of a good number of the, and Karim will have to actually tell me the number here, but like the amount of U.S. bases that exist in the Gulf, most of them, I think there's 13, and according to the New York Times, a good number of them, they don't specify, have been made uninhabitable, and this has caused that about 40,000 troops that were stationed in the Persian Gulf before the start of this war to essentially relocate. Now they say some have been sent to Europe, but the large majority of them have essentially just been moved within the region itself. This is a war that is essentially being conducted as a work from home scheme, via Zoom, via Microsoft Teams, who knows what they're using. But here's the kicker, and here's where the interesting part comes. After being essentially expelled from their own bases, now these U.S. troops are turning regular citizens of the Gulf into human shields. Why?
Correct.
Because they are, wherever they need to stay, the Iranians have already said very clearly, they have issued warnings telling the Gulf nations and that these are legitimate military targets, the officials, right? The U.S. military officials. So this is why you are seeing attacks on hotels or maybe residential areas that are seeking to eliminate U.S. soldiers. We are witnessing the decolonization of the Persian Gulf, in so many ways. But in any case, that is what's happening. And I do want to hear, Seema, I think you can give us a more of a breakdown of exactly what the situation is at the moment.
I just find it so funny and ironic because, as they always say, like every accusation is a confession. We've always heard these accusations hurled at the regional resistance actors, whether non-state or state actors, about using human shields. And now, as you mentioned, all residents, civilians in these Gulf states are essentially being used as human shields by these cowardly U.S. troops who are being forced to work remotely. Just to make it clear, according to this latest report, it's only essential crews that have stayed on site at the bases, but they've scaled down as much as possible. And the point is, that's saying a lot about how much damage was done to these bases, despite the desperate efforts to downplay these strikes, and deny that these strikes hit their targets. They are talking about severe damage. The majority of the 13 bases in the region, especially Kuwait, because it's next door to Iran, is suffering the most damage, according to the New York Times. And it's not just the radars. There was a lot of stress on the radars, but they are being forced to relocate to hotels. And this is why you have seen certain drone strikes on hotels and other areas that appear to be civilian, because you have these places where these U.S. troops and contractors, servicemen, whatever you want to call them, are hiding out. And this is, you've seen Iran's warnings to these countries about these areas and telling residents to avoid these areas. There was also an ultimatum, pretty much issued by Iran to Bahrain and UAE about these hotels hosting U.S. troops, and it just works so well in their favor to be using human shields and then frame any attack that looks like it's on a civilian area by Iran to be this horrific crime that everyone, including the Gulf Zionist media, then runs with. But Iran made it very clear that any presence of any U.S. military personnel could make these properties, whatever the properties are, maybe it's a villa and it's not a hotel, a legitimate military target. This has been made very clear, and it extends also to any kind of U.S.-linked assets and companies, But I find it also ironic because in early March there was a lot of Iranian monarchist opposition media and Israeli media trying to shed a very bright light on how the Basij in the Iran, which we discussed last time, the paramilitary volunteer force of the IRGC, mocking them that they are homeless now, by the way. They're sleeping in the streets, they're changing their clothes, trying to blend in with civilians, they are hiding under bridges, and as we discussed last time, they were hiding under bridges because their checkpoints were being attacked. So I just find it ironic that that now the case is so with these U.S. troops and what it means, for Iran's new target bank, really, which it's being very, open and honest about. Again, we've established, and I'm sure you guys discussed this yesterday, we've established how much these Gulf countries, regardless of the targets, are legitimate targets for their direct military complicity in this ongoing U.S.-Israeli crime, to put it mildly, that is being carried out against the Islamic Republic.
Exactly. Yeah. Yesterday, for those who joined us, Charmin, she went over our latest feature article on the Crackdowns, which I believe you can still find on the homepage by the great Aidan Simardon, a Canadian lawyer, who broke down exactly why what Iran is doing actually does adhere to international law, regardless of what Zionist-aligned media might want to tell you. But I mean. This is really like what's the German term? Schadenfreude, right? Like just to see find the humor in the misery of others. In this case, U.S. troops who have for years, right, been the guarantors of security in the Gulf and etc. and all of this. Now, essentially, like the thumbnail we put, from hegemon to homeless, because now you can't stay anywhere. And actually, Karim, maybe you can give us a bit of context here. Because in some regions of West Asia, it's been actually the people, the citizens themselves, who are kind of telling the IRGC, hey, these people are staying in this area. And just before I let you go on, because in the New York Times, they actually say this. They say that on Telegram, the IRGC has outright called on the people of the region, saying it is your Islamic duty to accurately report the hiding places of American terrorists and send the information to us on Telegram. And from what I understand, that has actually been happening.
Yes, so what we are witnessing now is a pivot point in our politics and in our history. Currently, they are not feeling it, but many people and many leaders will leave this region or will be like non-existent in this region. Until now, unfortunately, especially in the Gulf, there is still people that are calling upon the U.S. to nuke Iran. There are still people that on social media they go regarding what's happening, and they are saying that our homes are open for the Americans, and even in places like the UAE, they also say that our home is open to the Israelis. So there is a big like division in the Arab world. Of course, now there is. I know everybody will tell me on the comment, and Charmin, everybody, no, it's not as you think, black and white. Yes, it's black and white. We are living it. You're either with the Israelis or against the Israelis. And it's clear that the Gulf countries and the Lebanese government and the Jordanian government and the whole Gulf countries are with Israel, and after Israel, they are with the Americans. They are trying to say, no, we are with the Americans, and Israel is with the Americans. And you have completely opposite people that are against the Israelis. You have Hezbollah, you have the Iraqi resistance, you have every educated and knowledgeable Arab in the world. You have the Yemenis, and you have parts of Bahrain. The only country that's somehow gray is guess who? Oman. And guess what? Nobody supports Oman, and Oman supports nobody. So it has zero geopolitical power and influence in the region. The countries that have influence, starting with Iran, with Saudi Arabia, with Qatar, with the UAE, they are either with or without the Israelis. Regarding them being homeless or not finding place to live, look, that's what I said at the beginning. Now we are in a pivot point. Everything is changing. First, the biggest propaganda that the Gulf states and the Israelis and the Americans did in the region is that if you want to live in prosperity, if you want to have money, if you want to be safe, you have to shut your mouth and don't talk about the Israelis. Now, it's completely the opposite. If you're with the Israelis, we will get you and we will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
That is, of course, an example. An example. Just for
yes,
the
an example.
That is.
That's what they said.
Just an example. Yes.
Yeah, well,
but Karim, no, I think you're very clear in what you're saying. There's actually a couple of other things we need to get into. But before we do that, I don't know if Sima, you have any more thoughts about the current situation of
about
what
this
this means in
specifically
particular for the war effort, right?
No. I mean, just about the report that we've already discussed. I mean, again, about the U.S. presence in the Gulf region, I just want to point out before we move on something very, very obvious, which everyone already knows, and that still it needs a reminder, which is that this is the first time a U.S. presence has come under attack like this ever. Okay, which is saying a lot, and it is very clear that the Trump administration totally underestimated Iran in its response because of Iran's patience that it has exercised over the past decade. It was not at all expecting. Of course, we know Iran was saying it over and over again. This is what we're going to do. They did not believe them because they saw how much restraint Iran had over the years, and they have never had to deal with this ever. And again, back to that same report, there were bases that were not properly reinforced, which shows how much they did not take the Iranians seriously, despite their warnings. That's all I want to say about that, really, before we move on.
Yeah, I prefer not to move on currently about this topic because it's very important. We haven't talked about it before. Mm-hmm. So the first time, Esteban, the first question you asked me is how many bases there are. Nobody knows how many bases there are because of the monarchies on the Gulf. You have no idea what's happening there. Yani imagine if you want to know what's happening in Bahrain. You will see people in Qatar saying, for instance, we heard something coming from Bahrain. There is the censorship is extreme. I think there will be movies about the censorship. It's extreme. Why I'm saying this, we will never know. According to many reports from the United States, they say they have 13 key bases. If we look at the map here, we see these blue ones. These blue ones are also key bases from the 13 bases, and these bases are known to be used fully by the United States, meaning nobody from these countries even think to ask the United States what they are doing this. Why I'm saying we don't know, because there is many agreements between the US and the Arab puppets, and in these agreements there are points which are, for instance, during war, the United States has has the legitimacy to use such bases. For instance, here in Jordan, we see only one base that's controlled by the United States. And here in Oman, we don't see blue dot. But also, between Oman and Jordan, there is agreement with the United States that is, or translates to, if you are in our United States, our God, if our God want to war, you have the right to use any base and any port, for instance, in Oman. The same applies to Iraq. هلا the Iraqis, they tried to stop the Americans. Hopefully they will. But in Iraq, for instance, the United States have 400 plus points that the United States can use in Iraq to launch attacks, for instance. In Kuwait, all the Kuwaitis' homes are open for the Americans. The same applies to the government of Bahrain and Qatar. It's insane. Sorry, I'm maybe overreacting, but for instance, if you look here, for instance, and it's recent history, if you look here, you see Al Udeid base, where the United States had these big antennas and big hubs to like, for instance, surveillance for the Gulf countries and Iran and even south of Russia, because the radius was 5,000 kilometers, for instance. The funny part or the irony is that Qatar built this base and they invited the Saudis. The Americans. The same applied to Saudi Arabia, to UAE. These countries are crazy. These countries are crazy.
It's important. It's an important point, by the way, because for example, the British base Akrotiri in Cyprus is actually sovereign British territory. It is not Cypriot territory, whereas Udeid base in Qatar is Qatari territory. It is owned by the Qatari government. It's an important distinction to be made.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So these countries are complicit of what's happening. And of course, according to international law, if a third party land was used to attack another party or another country, it's complicit in the war.
Yeah.
It's like as all laws. For instance, if somebody kills somebody and you're the one who killed him, for instance, and another person forced you to do it, both will go to jail. It's the same. So usually here when you see where we see the mouse, here are where the U.S. criminals left Iraq and went to. Most of them are here, and they are being targeted by the Iraqi resistance. In Kuwait, I guess from social media, I don't have information, and people will say, "Oh, social media." Yeah, from social media, I know, or I have somehow evidence that even soldiers are living in villas for Kuwaitis. They open their houses for the Americans. Bahrain is a very small country. I don't know if they are still there, to be honest, but they are operating from every now and then. But I'm meaning that thousands of soldiers that left, they left from Iraq to Jordan, including NATO members, of course. And I think there's still many in Kuwait, because Kuwait is a base for the United States. There is no question about that. Yeah, we'll see what will happen. And now they are threatening to occupy, or the U.S. media, maybe its ally, to occupy this area, which is the Kharj Island.
Possibly. They have several scenarios.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Just something, Karim, just about Kuwait, because we have some people in the comments telling you, Karim, it's not true. Some Kuwaitis oppose the U.S. presence. I don't think Karim said all Kuwaitis, the entire Kuwaiti population is pro-U.S. I think he was just saying that there are some Kuwaitis who will host U.S. forces.
Yeah. Look.
Everyone knows that isn't possible, that they all support the U.S. and Israel. Many Kuwaitis don't. We know that. We saw it on social media this time around, actually. So I don't think that's exactly what he was
I
trying to
said
say.
the Arab slaves, and I said many Arabs that are educated and know what's happening doesn't support this. Okay, but most of the Kuwaitis have been brainwashed since 1991.
Yeah, especially by Iran.
They are taught in the schools, before they say Mama, Baba, they are taught in the schools that our savior is the United States and we have to do everything for the United States. And I'm not saying this from my head. I had classmates since I was young, and since nursery. I don't know what's nursery or in other languages. I had the Kuwaiti ambassador's son was in my school for 10 years. And we were friends. And afterwards, what I understood what they are, I left them. So I'm talking from experience, personal experience. I knew many Kuwaitis when I was young. I know how they think.
For sure.
And of course, the people that control Kuwait are these people. Okay? The people that are not in the government, of course, they are the educated ones or the ones that are against the Americans. But in such countries, in the Gulf country, you can't oppose the United States and stay in power. And for instance, there is a big example I will give. His name is, if I'm not mistaken, He was a deputy in the Iraqi parliament, Doshti, sorry, I will check it and maybe put it in the description. This guy became a deputy. He gave some speeches against the United States in the parliament, and till now he is exiled and live in Europe.
Just a couple of things. I know people who are from an older generation than I am that have also told me they were living in Kuwait, and they are literally taught that Iran is going to invade them and that Iran is the boogeyman. It is that bad. Another thing I just wanted to point out while we're talking about the Gulf countries very quickly before we move on is that we have a Bahraini citizen who has been tortured to death by the Bahraini government. His name is Mohammed al-Musawi, and he is reportedly now the first victim of a wave of arrests that have taken place and torture campaigns amid the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran. There is graphic imagery, we will not show it here, that is showing the aftermath of this brutal torture. And he was held for several days in an effort to link him to one of these alleged cells that are linked to Iran, as they have been trying to do with in relation to Iran and Hezbollah, in Kuwait and Bahrain and etc. So he was returned dead after days of no contact. He was arrested at a checkpoint, and
they accused him of being part of some sort of Iranian cell.
Yes, exactly. That's what I said. And he was mutilated with several torture instruments, according to the reports. And the Bahraini government has arrested hundreds of citizens, just to make it clear, since this war began. These crackdowns have been taking place long before the war on Iran, but I just wanted to point that out before we move on.
No, it's very important. I was going to bring it up, but we've seen this before. We've seen it in Jordan too. The brutality. Go ahead, Karim. What are you trying to?
No, also about Kuwait. Kuwait, they made up a story, and they arrested Shias in Kuwait just because they want to say that nobody is allowed to do anything, and they claimed that the cell is for Hezbollah, and they were plotting
more than once.
And they were plotting to like make explosions. Just to let you know, Hezbollah doesn't even do this in Lebanon. They don't even do it in Syria. Okay, and if they want to do this, at least they will start in Syria, not in Kuwait. To be honest, that's insane. They are killing people, they are torturing people just because maybe they saw a photo, okay, that they are against the United States and Israel, and will be tortured in these countries, and they will claim you are with Hezbollah because they want to torture you.
No.
They
no
want
one
to
cares.
teach people
they only care when
that.
It's torture in Assad's Syria or in Iran.
Yeah, 100%.
Otherwise, they don't give a single damn, and that is a fact.
100%.
Unfortunately.
And the funny part is that now they are really using human shields, Gulf countries, Gulf citizens as a human shields, and Iraqis, and nobody's talking about it. And the propaganda is that Hezbollah use human shields and Hamas and all of that. So this is the Western propaganda. The things that they will do or they know that they might do, they will apply it to their enemies.
Yes,
and brainwash the people.
There's another thing, which is that they are in Iran, they are massacring 40, 50 people per strike. And how do they justify it? Again, that these are human shields being used by the Basij. For example, we targeted this base, we targeted this Basij headquarters. And so, again, there is a difference when Iran has its target bank in civilian areas, it actually warns ahead of time, right? Like, oh, please evacuate. It has been reported to us that it has been confirmed to us, or Intel has indicated that there's a U.S. presence in this area, and they will inform, for the most part, that they're about to hit there. Whereas you have, in Iran now, this is aside from the escalation that we are about to talk about on the scale of civilian massacres, again justifying it by claiming that it's okay to kill 50 people in one strike because there was a Basij thing near, and they're embedding themselves in all of that.
Just yesterday, I'm pretty sure that was yesterday, Marco Rubio was saying that the Zionist inversion of reality, right, of accusing your enemy of doing exactly what you're doing, saying Iran is the one that is bombing civilian infrastructure in the Gulf, when they started this war by bombing a girls' school, an elementary girls' school. And now apparently there's report that wasn't the only school they bombed that day, that they also bombed another school on the same day. So it's truly repugnant. There's a question actually that somebody left in the chat that kind of will I want to use to go to the next topic, which is very important. This is, by the way, thank you to everyone who has sent super chats today. Thank you very much. This is from Substack of Hadi. And he asked, how can I sponsor one live to promote my Substack? I think maybe you can send an email to, I'm sure Karim can put or email there in the comments so you can discuss this option. And then he asked, what have you heard about the U.S.-Israel struck on an attack on an Iranian nuclear facility and special forces? That actually brings us to the next very important topic today, which is just a couple of hours ago, wait, I had it open here somewhere so I can read it correctly. Israel bombed Iran's Kondab or Arak heavy water reactor, plutonium-producing nuclear facility, as well as the uranium conversion site in Ardakan, which produces yellow cake used in early fuel stages. And now, this is the foreign minister of Iran just a few minutes ago. Hold on, let me see if I can put it on screen.
And that is after Iran confirmed that also their industrial sites were bombed.
Yeah,
right. So we have an escalation. The steel,
yeah.
So we have a major escalation on the U.S.-Israeli side today, and Iran also. Before we get back to
this
the
is
new
what this is what Arakchi says. He confirms that Israel has hit two of Iran's largest steel factories, a power plant, and civilian nuclear sites, among other infrastructure. And he says this contradicts, of course, what Trump, his quote-unquote deadline from yesterday. And now he's saying Iran will exact a heavy, all capitals, price for this. And now, alongside Arakchi's tweet, the IRGC aerospace commander has reportedly warned that it will no longer be an eye for an eye following today's attacks on key Iranian infrastructure. I mean, the warning couldn't be clearer, and the escalation also couldn't be any clearer. And in particular, I think the IRGC has also warned employees from U.S. and Israeli industrial factories, or whatever you want to call them, to leave, to exit. So now, the things have already reached kind of like a fever pitch. And it seems now
and they'll blame Iran for its retaliation, of course.
Yeah, we're about to enter that next stage. And I wonder, I mean,
just to be clear, the nuclear strikes were confirmed by Iranian media. It was Israel who came out and said they attacked them. Of course, this was with the U.S. You should never listen to any media outlet that claims that the Israelis did this without U.S. approval, whether it was the oil facilities that we saw just days ago or now this. Do not ever believe that the Israelis are attacking without consulting or without the knowledge of the U.S. It is complete deception and clownery, clown world content. Never, ever believe that. Ever. Like, I don't care how the tables turn, that will never be true.
And I mean, there's an obvious attempt to ignite everything on fire, right? And they kind of want to portray it like it's like Israel going on its own. Like, I'm sure Donald Trump or whoever is going to come out in a few minutes or in a few hours and be like, the president wasn't aware of the strike that Israel conducted.
8,200 will come out.
Exactly.
Barak Ravid will be like, oh, Trump is enraged. Yeah.
Trump is so angry, he will not pick up the phone for Netanyahu. And then, 2 weeks later, someone else will report, no, actually, they coordinated. Remember that attack? They coordinated. It was Trump gave the green light.
I think
it's the same story every single time. But now, I mean, Iran has already proven, if nothing else, that they are a military of their word, right? Like the Strait of Hormuz is being managed by them now, essentially. The Gulf, now, I imagine they better start kissing their industrial sectors goodbye. And of course, Israel as well, where, the impacts are going up rather than going down, right? Like, we have seen not just an increase in the number of Iranian launches, but also an increase in the number of Iranian hits in Israel.
Yes, and just something interesting as well is, we had Trump at the very beginning of the war saying, again, as I mentioned last time, that he has destroyed 100% of Iran's missile capability. And then Hegseth and CENTCOM and I don't know who else came out and said it was 70, 80. And now we have Hebrew media citing U.S. intelligence saying that only apparently 1/3 of Iran's missiles have been destroyed. And that according to the Israelis, Iran can launch for many, many more weeks. So that also tells you a lot about everything else. And I did want to bring up that MS Now report. But before that, did you guys discuss yesterday this so-called postponement that Trump did with hitting, the postponement he made? And yeah, exactly. The postponement he made about hitting the power. Yeah. And about, how well the talks are going. Because
but you can walk us through it, Sima, because it happened after. Or Karim wants to say something. Go ahead, Karim.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, regarding the topic, following the bombing of the two steel factories in Iran. Iran issued the evacuation order and warning for United Steel Industrial Company in Kuwait, the capital, and they also issued in Bahrain Al-Had area, Fulad company, and also Qatar Steel Company in Msaid in Qatar, and also in Abu Dhabi, the capital of the UAE, Emirat Steel Arkan also has been warned, and also Yehuda Steel Company in Ashdod, Israel. And also in Saudi Arabia, the Hadid company in Saudi Arabia. So they will retaliate. I don't think they have hit any yet, but they will retaliate. And it's clear, as I said in the day one, there is no difference between the Gulf countries and Israel in this war. And Iran and the armed forces of Iran is day by day confirming this. I just want to make this clear. And also regarding, before you continue, Sima, I just want to say something that it's clear that everybody knows what's happening in Iran and the war or the aggression on Iran, except Donald Trump.
Yes.
He's the least informed person ever. It's insane.
Yes, we have to point out, without going into detail, that he does not get the regular in-depth intelligence briefs that other U.S. presidents are supposed to get, because he has no patience for it, right? So according to reports, they are video briefs, they are 2 minutes long, they are full of they are video montages, probably with music, for all I know, a combination of real footage of things being blown up, as well as 3D animations, which is not really giving a very well-rounded picture of what's going on, because the pedophile baby simply has no attention span for it, which leads me to him now claim, according to White House officials and others in his circles, claiming he's bored now, which is another way to say he desperately wants to get out of this but doesn't know how. He's bored. He's had enough. He's over it.
Not only that, Sima, don't forget yesterday the video that was released. We put some here on the screen. Trump asked the negotiator, help me with his name, the old guy, the negotiator, Steve Witkoff. He asked Steve, can I reveal the present? He really believes what they told him. Maybe they told him yes.
The gift, yeah.
Iran must made a good gesture. And there is 10 ships. He really believes it. But this is the point that I think, like last week we talked about that. Maybe Trump is not lying. He really believes what he's saying, which is also we have a saying in Arabic, say, if he knows, it's half of a catastrophe. If he doesn't know, it's a full catastrophe. If he knew, it's half catastrophe. Okay, he's stupid. He's doing this. But he really believes, he really doesn't know. It's a big catastrophe. I don't know, maybe part of his family, but also all his family is Zionist. I don't know. Eventually, I think somebody eventually will come forward and tell him, Mr. President, 1, 2, 3. Of course, this guy will be fired, but maybe he will change something of his mentality. It's insane.
Just to quote the words of the IRGC, they said today in a statement, this morning, following the false statements of the corrupt U.S. president claiming that the Strait of Hormuz is open, they're referring here to the present mainly, as well. 3 container ships of different nationalities moved toward the designated corridor for authorized vessel traffic, but were turned back after warnings from the IRGC Navy. They're making it very clear now that any unauthorized, movement will face a harsh response. And that's where we're at with that when it comes to...
the ship was hit also.
Today,
Yes,
right now...
there was a video as well, which I didn't get around to verifying yet, but it seems...
I just want to add something that we are reporting currently on our social media, the Cradle, that the Yemeni armed forces have said they have an important upcoming statement
shortly.
I was just going to... hours.
I was going to say it, and then I lost my train of thought. Considering the escalation we are witnessing, it's a very important, must be a very important statement.
Now
because they haven't made any announcements yet, so this is the first.
Their concern here is, of course, among Iranians and anyone, is that once this war is over, Iran will have essentially no means for reconstruction, right? Like steel is one of their biggest exports. And now, right, like they targeted these 2 plants, which from what I read, it's not like they destroyed the plants, but of course, the attack has caused damage. Nevertheless, like this seems to be now the attempt, right? Like when Donald Trump's, when he puts out this stupid statement yesterday, he says a delay on the destruction of the energy plants, right? Like he's so specific. He's just like, that's what I'm going to do. Enough. That's what I'm going to do. And we know that the Israelis relish in the phrase that they like to use, I'm going to return you to the Stone Age, right? Like that's what they said to Hamas, to the Palestinians in Gaza. That's what they've said to Lebanon. That's what they've said to Iran. And that they try to put it in motion, right? They actually go and try. So this is the same thing with Harish Island, right? Like it is an attempt to make sure that Iran cannot reveal, that Iran will not be able to export anything, essentially, condemn the entire country into a life of disaster. So it takes a special significance that just after they hit these steel plants and those other nuclear, heavy water plants that we talked about, that Yemen essentially comes out and says, well, now we have a very special announcement coming in the next few hours. It could mean many things. And also just one more thing, let me add. It's right now in the west coast of, in the eastern coast of North America, it is 2:40 p.m. Markets are going to close in an hour or so. It's always after markets close that Donald Trump likes to go in with one of his stupid schemes. Mm-hmm. So now, he may have said yesterday, I need 10 more days. It could have just been misdirection.
And the talks are going so well.
Before. Yeah, that's just, and excuse my French, complete bullshit.
Yeah, it's not working anymore. I think the big brain, the American companies now understand that he's lying. Mm-hmm. Currently, the crude oil is $100. It has risen 5% in the past 24 hours. And the Brent oil is $112. It has risen 4% in the past 24 hours. So these are clearly not working anymore. Regarding, I want to speak about Iran a little bit because I know there is no social media in Iran and there is no YouTube even in Iran, which is, we can understand it from a security perspective. Look, it's not as people or as the Americans think or the Israelis even. If we hit a factory in Iran, Iran will go back 10 years. Iran is not the UK or Germany or the United States. You don't have to make contracts with like multi-trillion-dollar companies and wait for projects for 10 years or 5 years to get acceptance and like 10 to 12 years to be built. Iran is more closer to China than the West, meaning they have many engineers, they have many educated people, and they have the willpower and the manpower to rebuild everything within a few years. It's a big difference because people don't have this perspective. Even people that support us, for instance, that were born and live, for instance, in Canada, they think this is the system of the world. No, it's not. It's not like that. Iran is different than the West. Bombing or destroying facilities will not take them 10 years to be rebuilt. You know what I mean? They are not even like Gulf countries. Gulf countries, they will come. They want, for instance, to make a project. They will get Americans and Europeans, and they will study it, and they will pay these billions of dollars, and they will like invest in commercials for this infrastructure, which is very stupid, to be honest. Yani we have Ras Gas, which is the Qatari gas company. Imagine you're a gas company, okay, Esteban? Imagine you have a gas company. Why would you have a budget of $2 billion for advertisement, for instance? That's what they do. It's insane, man. It's insane. So that's what they do, for instance. Yeah. So there's a big difference about this. Also, we have to acknowledge that, as Seema said, this is very important, that there is no way that Israel is acting alone. And the thing that I can't wrap my head around is, okay, we understood that the Gulf countries didn't open their mouths for Gaza. They didn't threaten to do anything, close the oil or whatever. But the same applies now. They are being bombed. This is insane. Yani, for instance, when Israel goes now and bomb a steel factory, okay? Anybody will tell you, who's like viewing the war since 20 days, will tell you, okay, now Iran will bomb the steel factories in the region. And that's what happened. So now, for instance, if Israel goes and bomb like petrochemical industry in Iran, this means that the Gulf countries, petrochemicals will be bombed. I don't know why there is no pressure and there is no statements and there is nothing coming out of the Gulf unless the statement is condemning Iran. It's insane. It's illogic. Yani, I know, okay, you are with the Israelis, you exist to protect the Israelis and the Americans and blah, blah, blah. But at least you should have like at least part to maneuver, okay, and to object. Till now, they didn't object anything. They didn't try they didn't try at all to stop this war. It's all statements.
Or to put on a show that they object.
Yeah,
to put on a show.
Nothing, which is insane. Right. If you go back to history, there's nothing like this. It's insane. It's insane.
I'm looking at something now. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. Apparently, the UAE this week, yesterday, sent a letter to the UN documenting the UAE's aggressions against it, which is also, comes in line with, of course, the exclusive we published yesterday about Iran.
Yep.
Planning increased action, and also reports in Iranian media citing security officials saying that Iran is considering taking control of the coastal region of the UAE and Bahrain. I mean, Iran always, maybe to the annoyance of some, but they like to follow procedure, right? Like they are a bit of a sticklers for this, and that we've discussed this in the show before, actually, what the significance of this is. And now, I'm looking at this letter right now, and it's a pretty long one. They go like day by day, essentially saying what the UAE has allowed the US and Israel to do from their territory. And the UAE at the same time is talking about they will be, at the forefront. Today they said they will be at the forefront of a maritime task force, I think they called it, that will reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what to make of this.
It's a country of 1 million with no history. It's insane.
Zero history.
It's insane. Their army is part of it is mercenaries. It's insane. It's insane. And they worked for 30 years to make their image good, and they destroyed it. Ignore Iran. Ignore that Dubai will not be back and these places. They destroyed it by how they treated the foreigners that were inside the UAE, who will go back. Yani people that made money in the UAE, now they can't take out their money out of the country, for instance. This is a very bad image. Nobody will defend the UAE. And people that lived 30 years there will not defend it because they took their money. Yani now you have tickets, air flights, airplane or whatever it's called, people are paying $5,000 or $6,000 just to
Yeah.
go out from the UAE. For example, يعني a few months ago, Dubai, they were everywhere. We have the best passport. Dubai is number one airport. Okay, you destroyed it because you aligned yourself with the Israelis, but there will be no empathy even from the Westerners that were there. Okay, and the Israelis that were there. I don't know. I think they only will allow Israelis to get their money out, but the others, okay. يعني many people are going to the social media and the influencers that they paid just to let people know. Maybe people don't know, if you have like when you reach 1 million subscribers in any of your platform and you're Arab, the UAE will pay you to go and make videos there just to promote UAE. The same applies to the Israelis as an Israeli strategy that started, I think Simba knows more than me, that started maybe in the 80s. They go to the universities and they pay for Americans to come and see the Israel and how beautiful Israel is and how they live against like the Palestinian animals. So it's insane, man. It's insane.
You know, it's very sad actually for the UAE because they were just about to inaugurate the first ever street paved with actual gold just before the war.
Wow.
So you know,
Wow,
pour
that's so
one
sad.
out, pour one out for the UAE.
You know who I'm waiting for a statement for, Esteban. If people maybe don't know, the UAE, they have the Ministry of Happiness. I don't know.
Yeah, I forgot
I am
it's so
checking.
ridiculous that I completely forgot that was a thing.
I am checking every day, man. I want to see the statement.
You know, there's another. Go ahead, Sima. Go ahead.
No, I wanted to get back about the scenarios and Trump and what he might do next.
Then let
and
me mention
grand
something else then.
Yeah.
Because there's another angle to the Gulf. Really, there's so many angles to this, and it's of course the way that over the past 4 weeks, the United States has, if it wasn't clear before, they have made it abundantly clear now where the priorities lie. And it's not with the Gulf, and it's not with protecting the Gulf. It's with protecting, of course, that good old genocidal colony. And look at this. This is very interesting. You know, journalist Joshua Landis just posted this. Apparently, Switzerland, it's no longer going to get an order of Tomahawk missiles that they ordered years ago. And this is just the latest in a cycle that we have seen over the past 4 weeks of the United States having to dig very deep to replenish their stock. And not even just like over the past several weeks, but also, you know, since they started, since the war in Ukraine started, since the genocide in Gaza started, the U.S. industrial base has been essentially consumed by the deliveries, right? Be it to Ukraine, be it to Israel. Now, essentially, mainly just to Israel and, of course, to the U.S. itself. The Gulf just signed an agreement a few days ago. It was the UAE mainly, right? That they were going to get like $7 billion in arms sales extra. But first of all, none of these are deliverable immediately, right? Never, whenever you see this agreement, it's never like for immediate, except if it's Israel. If it's Israel, then yes, it is for immediate.
Yeah, they do the impossible, yeah.
Yeah, if it's for anyone else, it's like down the line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line. But now you see how much trust in the U.S. is eroding among its partners, because among its enemies, there was never any trust. But among its partners, everyone is being left out in the cold, if not outright turned into the enemy, right? Let's not forget Greenland. Let's not forget Canada. Let's not forget all of those other examples we saw last year. And now the Gulf, again, in particular the UAE, wants to escalate themselves. You're not going to get any weapons. I don't understand what the plan is here with your, army of mercenaries. I mean, is Eric Prince going to be the one leading the charge? And I think I said it in the podcast, and I'll say it again. I hope that's the case, because that would be a great thing for humanity if the UAE's armies of mercenaries go and disappear, confronting the IRGC.
Can you put up the super chat? It's so funny. The last one I just seen. And then let me know when I have something to talk about when you just let me know when I can go.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, upon what you said, Esteban, there's also don't forget Saudi Arabia, what they did today. They signed a defense deal a mutually beneficial defense deal with Ukraine. Zelensky arrived yesterday to Saudi Arabia, and now they assigned a defense deal with Ukraine. And who's Ukraine fighting? Russia. They shut the door that might open for them after this war ends.
Yeah. No, I mean,
يعني, for instance, for people like me, maybe I am blind, maybe I am emotional, but I don't think that retired generals of the United States are emotional. I don't think that military experts in the West are emotional, because they are saying what we are saying, that clearly till now Iran strategically is winning and there is no way to open the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know how these Gulf countries are acting as if it's 100% that the United States will win. They are not keeping a door for negotiations with the Iranians or with the Russians now, which is insane. Why would Saudi Arabia now sign a defense deal with Ukraine? Because they want some drones? I don't know, yani. The war is not over yet in Ukraine. Will Zelensky or the army of Ukraine will prefer to send arms and drones to Saudi Arabia? And who will operate them? You need months to understand how this stuff works. It's not like it's a military equipment. You can't just give. It's not a toy. Yani. You got like a Saudi Arabian who will understand Ukrainian weapons, for instance, suddenly, or NATO weapons suddenly. It's insane. It's insane. These countries, they believe it, as Trump believes that eventually, after a few weeks, there will be no Iran. And that's how they are acting. They are acting as if there will be no Iran, no Hezbollah, no Iraqis, no Yemenis, who they still didn't enter. They might enter after this show, because most important things happens when we finish the show. So
it's very true. It's very true.
So we have to wait and see.
Seema, please go ahead. You had some thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much things. You know, we had also our report today, and it's from Iranian media, that Iran is mobilizing at least 1 million soldiers to repel
minimum
potential ground invasion launched by the U.S. Army. I wanted to talk. You guys probably mentioned the whole deception that we shouldn't waste too much time on his new 15-point submission plan. Like, remember, he had the 21-point. Yeah, he had the 21-point plan. So there's that, and then there was Iran sending its demands back, and I'm sure you guys have already discussed those demands. And you have, again, U.S.-Israeli propaganda outlet laying out these different scenarios for ground invasion, because some people may be under the impression that it's only Kharg Island, which is not the case. The ideas that are being floated around by this Israeli intelligence operation known as Axios is, aside from Kharg Island, you have the possibility of invading Larak, apparently, which is an island that helps Iran solidify its control of the Strait of Hormuz, and it hosts all kinds of military assets. Another option is seizing the strategic island of Abu Musa and the two smaller islands, the one that is the islands that are also claimed by the UAE, which lie near the western entrance to the Strait of Hormuz, right? The ones claimed by the UAE, the disputed islands. And there's also blocking or seizing ships that are exporting Iranian oil on the eastern side of the Hormuz Strait. They claim these are all hypothetical up until now, but if Trump is so, he's mad, and if the Iranians don't accept his 15-point plan, then he could do any one of these any minute now. And of course, you saw the reports, right, that he is sending 10,000 more troops to West Asia, if I'm not mistaken, or at least doing that. I think he will be sending them. Weren't they previously between 2,000 and 5,000, or am I wrong?
The number kept going up. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Right.
They said
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are sending 5,000 soldiers or Navy SEALs, and also there's 2,500 that are coming through the Tripoli ship.
Yeah, I'm talking about the new report of 10,000.
They
on
said
top
10,000.
of the previous. Yeah.
This is on top of the Marines that I think were about 5,000, and on top of the paratroopers, which were 8,000. So at this point, we're around the 20,000 mark.
Okay, so no, this brings me to this idea of drinking the Kool-Aid, which was this report I sent you, Esteban, because I found it very funny, and it kind of goes under the same banner of what I was talking about with like the kind of video briefs they give him because he's like mentally, I don't want to say something politically
Respect
correct.
yourself, Sima.
But basically, you have these White House officials and aides talking to MS Now and saying that, like, this guy is claiming he's already won the war, like, since day one, when, as Karim pointed out, a lot of experts are saying that so far Iran strategically has the upper hand. So he keeps saying he's won this war. He's decimated Iran, but he's sending more troops. So this contradiction inside the circles in the White House is not making a lot of sense to everyone. According to this MS Now report, they are describing what's going on as confusing and internally inconsistent and detached from the battlefield reality, which again, his video briefs are also probably very attached from the battlefield reality. Anyway, these officials are saying that Trump calling the war already won is mostly hyperbole. It's very important because if you've seen this new approach that the White House takes, it's very meme style and a kind of cultural, like there's no substance or kind of reflection of reality there. And it's becoming very pronounced. So I was telling you guys, this idea that Trump is bored with Iran is of course a lie. He is desperate. But the officials are saying it's so obvious that he says, to quote, like, Trump is getting a little bored with Iran. Not that he regrets it or something. He's just bored and he wants to move on. That statement gives away a lot. And the other thing is that this is really kind of being presented as, they call it, a cultural moment that generates online content. This is what this horrific war on Iran is being translated to when it comes to the messaging, right, in the US. And some people that have spoken to MS Now, these officials, are calling it cringe and embarrassing, because there's all this White House, content with, all these kinds of clips using like content from Iron Man and Top Gun and
video games, a lot of video
games, rap music overlaid on footage of unclassified videos of bombs striking Iran, all this stuff. So they're like, this is cringe, disrespectful, and gross, and it's embarrassing to say the least. And the point is, they're asking, what do we get out of this? You know what I mean? It's becoming very clear that there is no connection between reality and the messaging, and it's almost everyone can tell, but at the same time, there are people who still go along with it. Another quote says, so many people are afraid of being on the outs that they are just drinking the Kool-Aid and going along with it, because basically he knows that there are some people that to quote, he's learned he can tell the American people his feeling, and with enough time, the American people will just accept his lie. So unfortunately, you still have a lot of people who will eat that up. But at the same time, everyone knows what's up, and they know that the victory speech, right, is bullshit. It's bullshit.
I think expecting the people in the US to, open their eyes or wake up, it's a pipe dream. Honestly,
I'm over it.
These are people who are heavily propagandized, the most propagandized on earth, except our subscribers and our patrons. We love you so very much. But then in general, people in the US, in the global south, we don't have that high esteem for the people in the US, because they have shown us exactly how they see things and how they, they can't even point to a country in the map that isn't theirs. So it's quite unfortunate. I want to actually just mention something very quickly. Right now, we are closing in on 1,000 people live with us right now, but we only have less than 600 likes. Really need your help with those likes, people. If you haven't yet hit that like button, make sure to do it. And I also want to mention this: the RGC has just published the names of what they are about to target in retaliation for the attacks today on their industrial areas, and this is what they named.
These are the ones you mentioned, right, Karim? I think.
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah, but this doesn't include the Israeli steel.
In Yehuda Steel in Ashdod.
Yeah.
United Steel
I
Industries.
They're there. Yeah.
So this is it, and these are the maps, of course. So UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, Israel, and Qatar Their industrial, oh my God, they're going to hit Qatar steel as well. That should be an interesting one. But in any case, as the IRGC also said in their other statement, this is no longer even an eye for an eye. So another thing worth noting, and I don't know if we should get into this too deeply, it's the confirmation by the U.S. Department of Justice that the personal email of FBI Director Kash Patel has been hacked, indeed, by Iranian hacker group Handala. And the pictures are already out there; they're already circulating. And also, I saw something, and I haven't seen confirmation of this, but I saw some people talking about it. That Handala, or I think it was Handala actually, that they said that they had also hacked the payment systems of some chain stores in the U.S. So you can see how this war, World War III, if we want to call it that, it's really, completely unconventional, completely asymmetric, and it's not a war that the U.S. is prepared to fight, right? Like, why can we point out all of the errors that the U.S. is committing? It's because they keep acting as if this is a war from like 20, 30, 40 years ago, when everything has changed, right? And all they have left at this point is just a lot of bombs and an attempt at sending in troops that are going to be, Harsh Island is about to become a mass grave for U.S. troops.
Yeah, I want to visualize what we're talking about and what Seema talked about. So, of course, this is Iran. This is the Gulf. Here, that's Tel Aviv, Turkey, and other parts. And these are the nuclear facilities in Iran. I just want to point something out that now came to my mind, that yesterday the Gulf countries issued a statement 100% in Bahrain and Kuwait, and with the video messages, how people should act if a nuclear facility was bombed, or if there was leaks. And today Israel did it, so they 100% knew beforehand. That confirms what Seema said. So Seema first was talking about the island, Arak Island. No, not Arak. Sorry.
Larak.
Larak. So Seema was talking about Larak Island. This dot here is the Larak Island. This island, as Seema said, it's being used to for the ships to exit the Strait of Hormuz. So what's happening? The ships that are here, they go pass between these two islands, this big island and this small island, and they are being checked by the Iranians, and then they go out to the open water. And this applies the same when they come in. They are coming in here and they are being checked here. And if we see this light color is Iran's EEZ, which means exclusive economic zone. By law, by international law, these are the international waters of Iran, and Iran has the right to do whatever they want in these waters, fishing, whatever, surveillance or whatever. So these are a key island in this war. Of course, they are not key for closing the Strait of Hormuz, but they are key for letting ships to go out of Strait of Hormuz. So I think if the Americans took these, it will like create more problems for the world, not less. That's one. And if we see here is Kharj Island, this island where Iran exports 90% of its oil and gas. So if the Americans want to make a landing operation here or to use ships, I don't know from where they will use ships, because they have to pass here. Yani they will have to start from here. This is Iran, and go there. Iran has a 3,000 kilometers coastal line, which is around 1,800 or 700,000 miles. Okay, this is very difficult for them, and if they want to maintain it, it's closer to Iran than to Saudi Arabia or Kuwait or whatever. So that's why the Americans that are against Iran, but also against the war, they are like that because they know there's no there's no magic that will allow the United States to land in such areas and stay safe. It's nearly impossible. Yeah, that's one. And if you want to compare what's happening now or might happen now to Iraq, if you look here at the map, The map doesn't shows 100% that terrain as they should. But here, all of this flat land, all of this. So in 1991 and 1993, the Americans, of course, used Kuwait and Saudi Arabia to launch attack and to invade Iraq. So if you look here, this is flat land. These are all deserts. They can enter, and of course, they use the technology and air superiority to destroy Iraq. Only here in Iraq, the Kurdish area, we have mountains. While if you look at Iran, from here, from the last point of Iran in the north till the southern part, these are all mountains, which are very, very difficult militarily to defend or to attack or to acquire. For instance, there might be Iranians here, or wherever. Iran, don't forget that Iran, they are bombing sometimes Israel from this area all the way to Tel Aviv or Dimona. It will be very easy for Iran, from any point of Iran, to send weapons, missiles here or drones, which is crazy. That's what people are talking about. And let us not forget that all the Gulf is piece of cake for Iran. They are not, people think that Iran is going all in on the Gulf. No, they are not. They are only bombing
They're holding
US.
back.
Yeah, they are bombing US assets. And if Israel or the United States bombs a specific strategic place, they are retaliating within 1 or 2 days and bombing similar strategic places in these countries. So I don't know how they will do it. And let us not forget, here Turkmenistan, here is Afghanistan, and here is Pakistan. The Americans and the Israelis, they are not using these areas, at least till now, or at least to our knowledge, to attack Iran. And of course, if you go here, this is Azerbaijan, and here, this is Russia also. You see here is Russia, this is the Caspian Sea. So most of the attacks are coming from from Israel. Jordan, for instance, they fly, as the Israelis showed us in their video, they are coming up from here. Syria, of course, there is no Syria, unfortunately. Iraq, unfortunately, it's occupied since 2003, and they are bombing here freely. And also, from this point, and this point, and this point, we have visual and video confirmation that Himras or Hamiras, I forgot the exact pronunciation of it, is being used to launch attacks, precise attacks according to CENTCOM, into Iranian territory. And let us not forget, here is the Arabian Sea, and here is the Indian Ocean. Until now, the Americans, let me zoom out, they were not able to be visible here. So they are attacking from some place here outside of this map, and yeah, okay, and also they have ships in the Red Sea and in the Mediterranean, and of course these ships are trying to protect Tel Aviv. I don't think they have a combat role till now. They are solely there to protect Tel Aviv and to down missiles that are being fired into Israeli territory.
Guys, I want to ask you something, since I have both of you on the show, and it's what's been happening in Lebanon over the past 24 hours. I think we cannot end today's episode before we go over the developments there. And just for context, I think the Lebanese resistance has again broken their record for daily operations against the invading troops. And also, there's reports today that an Israeli warplane was targeted as it was flying over Beirut. Sima, can you walk us through some of the latest developments?
Well, the targeting across Beirut and the south and the east, but mainly the south at the moment, continues. And you have an abundance of resistance operations. As you said, we had the previous day, was it 87, if I'm not mistaken? Somebody please correct me
89,
if I'm
if
wrong.
I remember.
89, yeah. And then yesterday we had an even higher record of resistance operations by the Lebanese resistance. It was 90... Karim, do you remember? Because I'm pulling it up right now.
I saw 95.
90, yes. 94, 95, yeah. 100%.
Yeah, and so you have them. By the way, I wanted to point out, based on what the missile that you mentioned, this we have seen this the resistance do this several times in the war in 2024 as well. They will launch a missile to repel, a fighter jet. So when they say we engaged or we confronted, usually they succeed in repelling it by targeting it. But of course, it doesn't mean they intercept it or down it. Just
they say it in their statement, and it's not propaganda. They say we fired it to repel its attack. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is engaging, confronting, and really we have civilians being targeted in the south. We have strikes in which babies are being killed, of course, and we have ongoing clashes. We have the Israelis, of course, claiming their victories, while the mayors of Margaliot and officials from Kiryat Shmona cry about the non-stop explosions and rocket fire coming from Lebanon, right? We have to wait and see how this is going to play out. But right now, they are making the north a living hell, and they're also showing their capability to target Tel Aviv and, the depth. They target Haifa, they target Nahariya, they target Tel Aviv. They even, a few weeks ago, targeted Ashkelon, and they are continuing at a very high pace as Israel continues its crimes, really, across Lebanon and its massacres. There are so many details that we need to really have, an episode where we go in depth about what is happening. So, Karim, if there's anything that you want to add about what's happening in Lebanon, because there's a lot of targetings, a lot of massacres.
Yeah, of course, it's a war with Israel. That's what they do best. If they fail against Hezbollah, they will create a balance in their mind by targeting civilians and infrastructure and bridges. That's what is Israel. That's what we heard about Israel from our families. That's what we lived through in Israeli wars, and that's what's happening now. That's exactly what's happening now. Hezbollah is doing very well if you compare it to 2 years ago. And of course, not only we are saying this, it's not propaganda. Go see the Israeli media, what they are talking about, and also the Israeli military. Today, there was an article published by an Israeli, I don't know if he's a general, but he's in the army, high rank in the army, but without his name, in Israeli publication. And he said that part of the things that he wrote was that we did not expect that Hezbollah was that powerful or had that capacity, and that's coming from an Israeli army personnel. So I think I said it before, the biggest card or the joker card that happened in this war is Hezbollah. Nobody, of course, including me and the Israelis, thought that Hezbollah will inflict damages to the Israelis. We saw them firing in Haifa. We saw them firing into Tel Aviv and many other places during this war. And also, I want to give a piece of information that the Israelis revealed today. They are saying that Hezbollah, they are using drones with fiber optics, the same as the ones used in the Russia-Ukraine war. And this is very important. Why? Because we know that as the Israelis and the Americans, they are superior in technology, and using fiber optic cables attached to the drones and to missiles. This will prevent any interception from the Israelis or from the Americans, meaning the data is being sent and loaded and uploaded and even streamed through wire. You can't access this information, which is very important. And we have also a video that was published by Hezbollah targeting a Merkava tank with a drone. And
today's one. We can't show them on here, or we.
Yeah,
Putting
I
it
can
on.
show
I'm
it.
putting it on right now. I'm putting it on.
Yeah,
right now.
that's one. This video, the Israelis said that. Not this one. Okay,
No,
but
not
there's
the guy.
plenty now. One of the videos, Hezbollah used this. In the previous war, they used a fiber optic through guided missiles. Now they are using them with a plane, which is a very dangerous thing, as the Israelis said, because whatever technology they have, the Israelis, now they can't use it because they are using wires. Also, the last thing about Lebanon, if I can find it now.
Oh, maybe the one you're looking for is from last night at around 11 p.m.
I think I put it, we put
Yesterday
it.
we put it. I remember it.
Yeah, we did.
I remember it.
Yeah.
We did
But
put it.
today, the information came out that these drones are using fiber optic as the ones
That's
Russia
very
and
interesting,
Ukraine is using.
actually, Karim, because of course, war has evolved, which is not something that the U.S. seems to be very cognizant of.
Yeah, and also, the last piece of information also, the Minister of Interior, sorry, Seema, correct me, maybe the Minister of Defense said that Israel is now inside, the Israeli forces are inside Lebanon up to 8 kilometers.
Was that
many
even
people?
official? That was that was not official.
Yeah, that's what they are saying, and they didn't deny it, Seema. That's the
Clear.
point. So maybe in some places they infiltrated into 8 kilometers, but it's yet not confirmed. And it came out from the Minister of Lebanon, who knows nothing about Lebanon. Yani, I don't think Hezbollah. Maybe he knows that from the Israeli army, not from Hezbollah. Maybe the Israeli army told them that. We have yet to confirm this statement.
There's someone before we wrap up, and because I think this is an important question, although it comes from someone who sometimes likes to send mean comments in the chat. Nevertheless, when the war started, when the war started, and then Hezbollah entered, we here at the Cradle, and in particular was Karim, Sharmin, and myself, we were not very excited. We were not very responsive to the entry of the resistance, right? And we made some harsh comments, some very harsh criticism, which I
Especially
personally
Karim,
don't.
I imagine.
Karim did, yeah. I don't retract it. I don't retract it because that is the question. No, I don't retract it. But the situation has changed completely. Completely. Yeah, it's night and day. From the way that the Lebanese resistance entered on March 2nd, I think it was, to today, March 27th, it's absolute, night and day. It's not comparable at all. And, the feelings, I believe, and I don't want to speak for you guys, but the feelings, I feel like that many people who either live in Lebanon or have family in Lebanon were difficult to get through, right? During that first day in particular, knowing what the brutality of the Zionist entity means, and then how, as Karim likes to say, they really can't take it out on the battlefield, so they go and take it out on the schools, on the hospitals, on the people, on the residential areas. But nevertheless, that's just, I wanna highlight that. It's a completely different day. It's a completely different situation. And, I guess just that. I don't really have much more to say. I don't know if you have any thoughts, Karim.
I have a video, not a thought, Seema. Just 1 minute ago, new video has been published. We can put it here. And us and the viewers will see it for the first time because it's just now. Now I am uploading it.
Yeah,
I think
just
it's
now.
uploaded. Don't look at, don't cheat, Seema, لحظة.
I'm not going to cheat. Yeah, this is another targeting of a Merkava tank. They have been relentlessly.
It's been dozens of Merkavas.
Yeah, you guys
in 3
talked
days,
about
no?
this, right? I don't want to come on and just repeat.
It's
stuff
okay,
that
Seema, you can repeat
you guys
yourself.
already.
We are every day here, not once a week.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I know.
We do repeat a few things. Don't worry about that.
But yeah,
Okay,
this one
the-
is in
the
Al
video is
Qawzah,
ready.
right? This is in Al Qawzah where there are some, confrontation.
Yalla, I will put it. Share screen.
Do it. Please, in the meantime, hit that like button, everyone. Really important. Really, really important.
Really urgent.
Really urgent. It's necessary.
Heart surgery. Man,
So
it's
this
no
is
fun.
the Merkava
It's no fun
tank.
without the music. Dun, 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 dun.
The
want the
algorithm's
music?
already.
Dun, 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 dun,
I think
dun.
enough, Karim. Just to be on the safe side. Just to be on the safe side. because
If you want the full video with the go to our social media and you can watch it. And I want to, before Esteban, today we made a very nice interview with Ali Jazzini. Sharmin interviewed Ali Jazzini, who works at Al Mayadeen, and he's a military journalist. And the video or the interview will be out today within like 1 hour or one and a half hour from now. I urge you to go. I urge you to go check it, because we often hear military experts or military assumptions from the West, and we brought you a person from Lebanon, from this region, and he talks and gave information from this region, not
useful
assumptions. Useful, not assumptions from the West, because he knows the geography, he knows the combat tactics and the people, and even the psychological warfare that's going on. It's around 1.5 hours, and it's worth every minute.
So go ahead and check that out when that's online. Also, just go ahead and check it out. And of course, thank you to everyone who joined us today. Thank you to our patrons especially. Again, that friendly reminder in the description below, you can find a link that will take you directly to our Patreon page, where you can become a direct supporter of the Cradle. We need your support truly. If you can spare it, consider becoming a patron. I want to thank, of course, Sima and Karim, and we'll be back tomorrow. So, what I was gonna say is that as soon as this podcast is over, make sure to check out whatever the Yemenis have to say, because as Karim says, whenever this podcast is over, then the very important things happen. So I think we are headed for a very busy weekend, to say the least. Eventful weekend indeed.
Very. It starts now. Like the second episode ends, it starts. Everything. That's okay.
Okay, guys. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Take care. See ya.
Over 4 years in, and despite all the censorship, website attacks, and war across West Asia, the Cradle hit 1 million monthly readers in 2025. And we couldn't be more grateful. Up until this moment, you've had access to all our work for free. Over 30,000 articles, including investigations, analysis, interviews, news content, videos, podcasts, and more. All of this without paywalls, without harassing you and hunting you down for donations. But now it's do or die. December 31st, 2026 is the deadline for the Cradle to become completely reader funded, because that's the model all media should have. When readers pay for your content, it means media outlets live or die based on whether they're producing reliable, intellectually stimulating information analyses that simply isn't available elsewhere.
يعني يلا